G'day folks, and welcome to the very first edition of Cougar Vision. Yet another initiative from the great man Daniel Sprouter Adams. Needing no introduction, the greatest centre forward this club has ever produced, myself, Wayne DeVissa, will be your host as we attempt to bring you all the latest news and happenings from around the club. You will also be able to view us on the internet via the Coldstream Facebook page or the website for further information and links. Okay, let's get stuck into all the action from round one. With all three teams suffering a defeat, it was a pretty disappointing way to start the season. Let's first take a look at the under-18s.
The under-18s kicked off the season out at Mitcham. Despite getting off to a good start, the boys let Mitcham take control midway through the second quarter. While the Cougars played well in patches, it was always a case of playing catch-up football. Disposal was poor and there was no overlap and link with handballs through the middle. There were too many kicks to Mitcham-dominated contests and forward pressure was non-existent. On a positive note, the creators of half-back worked hard all day and gave some drive into the forward line. In the end, Mitcham ran out winners 17 goals 15, 117 to 6 goals 7, 43. Lockie Craig, Aaron Sedgman and James Young were in the best.
Bad luck boys, but now it's to the twos, where they got off to a pretty good start to the game under debutant coach Shaq agrees, but unfortunately couldn't carry that on for the rest of the game.
Done the hard yards.
With 9 new players pulling on the Coldstream jumper for round 1, it was a remarkable change from just 6 months earlier. The reserves got off to a great start, with Richo giving them first use in the middle and Noodles and Screwy working hard around the contest. The forwards were capitalising, with Jake Johnson and D-Mac both looking dangerous. Sauce and Rowdy Bowler were repelling all of Mitcham's forward entries, with all other backmen running around them extremely well in support. Mitcham reserves were a finals team in 2009 and it was fair to say they would be getting a rev up and would respond accordingly. They did, and as Coldstream's new twos coach said, "We didn't lift our work rate." Quite simple. Coldstream let Mitcham claim the ascendancy, and as they got tired, the talk dropped off, and luckily poor kicking by Mitcham had them only down by 2 goals at half-time. But the trend continued in the second half, with Mitcham now capitalising on skill errors and on the scoreboard to run away with the game quite easily, in the end by 79 points.
The seniors had a game they would rather forget. A 13-goal to 3-goal first term was not an ideal start to say the least. Probably one highlight was Choco Dale, who performed well for Coldstream.
There is not a lot to say about such a disastrous start other than there is only way to go from here, and that is up. After a very long and extensive pre-season, the new Coldstream coach Sean Ellis went into the game feeling very confident that they would acquit themselves considerably better than what they did. After a fairly even first 2.5 minutes, Mitcham were unstoppable as they kicked away to a match-winning lead at quarter time, and that was basically the ball game, with Mitcham ending up winning by an even ton, 28 goals 19, 187 to 12 goals 15, 87. Before taking a number of very clear messages out of the weekend's performance, the players need to very quickly put the result behind them and start to look at Warrandyte this week at home. With very few winners on the day and possibly only a few more who were prepared to contest and compete to a level that is expected of a senior footballer, a different approach to training this week would have been required. A focus on accountability and pressure would have been extremely evident in this week's training.
it's time to take a look at the Coldstream Football Club social scene, in which we have our very own dedicated social commentator in Matthew Pretty Boy Johnson. Now, Jono, what's been happening on the social front, mate? I hear Daniel Price has been spotted out and about.
He certainly was, Wayne. Probably not the best preparation before a game, but young Daniel Price was spotted at a karaoke bar last Friday night.
David played and it pleased the Lord, but he don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major left, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Brian Kerr was at that karaoke bar as well. Check out his form. We've managed to track Ryan down to ask him a few questions about this photo. Ryan, how were you feeling before approaching this young lady?
Yeah, I was nervous as shit.
And how were you feeling after hooking up?
I was pretty ecstatic. I think the first person I hugged was Pickles.
Did you manage to catch her name? And was it a female?
Renee. He was a male.
Sutsy was also out and about, last seen yelling something at the camera.
When am I going to be in the ones?
Now, have you ever wondered what Ozzy Lawrence does for a job? He's the police chief commissioner. Now let's take a look at what's coming up this year on the social calendar. Saturday night was the first function with a band playing down at the club. It has been described by some people as an absolute disaster, and as such no social best and fairest votes will be awarded. The next social function is this week with a Superstars and Legends night hosted by Eddie Maguire. Everyone get down there and make it a good one. Other social events will be coming up and will be awesome, but unfortunately no one could provide me with the dates or details, so keep checking the website for information. Over and out, Matt Pretty Boy Johnson.
Thank you for that, very amusing as always. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome the new players to the club. Among them Benjamin Garrington and Aaron Brown making a welcome return, as well as Tom Ahon, Jai Conrow, Tim Bakey and the Cruikshank brothers. Stephen Cruikshank has been working particularly hard in the gym. Here's a photo from earlier in the pre-season. Now before we wrap it up folks, a few words from the Prez, Stephen Hancock.
Thanks Tonsils Deviz. Where do we start? Pretty disappointing day over at Mitcham. All things pre-season pretty much pointed to all three teams having a pretty good day out there. 18's had a couple of good wins pre-season, so did reserves, and both games for the seniors as well, all wins. So yeah, a little bit disappointing and probably a bit surprising for all the supporters and coaches and everybody involved, but that's football. Saturday night back at the rooms was a bit disappointing as well. Round one we had a band down there. I think we had 2 under 18s players rock up and just a scattering of senior boys. Got to put in a bigger effort than that, boy. Thanks again to Bruiser and Nathan in the kitchen. Meals are fantastic, they're going like hotcakes. Only 3 people had diarrhoea from last Thursday night. Just one last thing too, boys, on a serious note, there has been a few people around the football club a little bit worried. They thought on Saturday night that they saw Ben Garrington making out with his old man. Just want to let people know that's his mum, Sandra. They do look alike. Just give them their space, let them go. Same haircuts, they've had the same haircuts for a long time. I think some kind of family tradition, I'm not quite sure. But give them a go, they are different people. He definitely did not make out with his old man. And look forward to seeing everybody down here on Saturday, hopefully celebrating 3 wins. See you later. The Prez.
That's it for tonight's show. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. I'm your host, Wayne DeVissa, the greatest NR forward this club has ever produced. Thank you.